Hi, I'm Donald Drake, and this is behind the scenes and intricacies of the Pink Machine, aka Buzz Worship. And we start our machine with a standard ramp, goes down and hits this bearing holding that ramp, which holds this ball, and lets it down here. And this phone I found on the sidewalk along with this iPod I made evil. Found that phone, and I found this phone right here. And this is kind of what started the Pink Machine, in addition to having a magazine cover with this lovely hot pink collage-like stuff. So anyway, I started the machine off with this pink phone. And it goes down to this section, and at this point I don't even think we've seen a real trick yet. We've just seen movement. I mean, I guess this is a trick, but it's a pretty easy trick. It's just a weight pulling a ramp down. And this is, I mean, I guess it's a trick to some people, but all it's doing here really is hitting levers. But the trick here is really just movement. I just wanted visuals and movement, and the movement here are just inclined plane lever movements, and the visual trick is the mirroring, kind of the black and pink and black. And after all those lever crisscrossings happen, I don't even think I've ever done a crisscross like that, actually. But anyway, after that happens, the ball rolls down here, kind of hooks on there. I love stuff like that when you kind of have to have it land exactly. Goes down there, and then it would push this barrier forward, and this barrier has a penny glued to it. And then this robotic arm grabs it and then shakes it and then lets the ball loose. Originally it grabbed it and took it away, but this stopped doing that for some reason and just shook it. So I kept it because I think it might look cooler than it grabbing it away. But this is another trick I've kind of done before, is having a motor grab magnets and manipulate. I love magnet tricks lately. So anyway, after that ball goes down, standard string to letting another ball go. Not really a trick, I guess, more of a transition. Oh, and a thing to note here is this was at first just made purely for the visual aspect, because I love that cutout. I added the skull face, makes it look a bit more badass, I think. But this just started as a visual movement, and I incorporated a trick into it. So then we have a marble go down this way after that. And then what would happen if everything was set up, and you've seen the video, is this marble goes down here. Now this was kind of hard to set up because I didn't give myself enough space for this gold ball. So I really had to make sure those pathways were very, I mean, it still sometimes fell off while shooting, but the success rate was good enough where I didn't care. So anyway, what happens is marble goes down here, hits that up, hits the gold ball, releases it down into that bag. And as soon as I got this phone, I knew that's what I was going to do something about, like with a weight trick. And, you know, it's obvious. Whenever I get a new object, I always like to say I start off with the obvious stuff first, just to get it out of my mind. And this bag came down. This bag was actually a little bit of a hassle. You would think a marble would pull it down from there, but no, it's not. So I actually had to glue a penny to keep it up, and then I had to glue this thing here to use as the ledge. And then it seemed to work every time after that. Now, this is actually the very first thing I built in the machine. This multi-use pulley. And I got this idea is because I did a machine with a kind of a multi-use lever. I had a lever come up, hit a ball. The ball would come into the lever and bring the lever down and let the ball go. And the lever would come back up and hit another ball. Kitty. So what I did with this machine is I had a ball go into the bottom part of the pulley, and then the pulley would release the ball into this cup. And then when a ball goes into the pulley, sometimes it didn't work, but when a ball goes into the pulley, it also hits this lever and makes this ball on a path that goes back into the pulley. And sometimes it would come out, and this was actually really not tedious but annoying because I had to make sure the ball had a good enough cradle not to fall out, but at the same time the vibrations from hitting the bottom and the slight angle it tipped at was enough to let the ball go. So it's a kind of delicate balance of like really tiny barriers, and like I would glue stuff just to make sure, because this isn't a perfect box, so I had to like glue stuff in there to make it more marble size. And this is just a bunch of junk. In the future I got the idea of trying to use clay for the weights. And if you use clay, you'll be able to like take off very small amounts or add very small amounts to tweak the weight just right. And that's why this pulley kind of looks like a bunch of junk, because it's all tweaking the weight just right. Like if I remove this next piece, that's not the weight I wanted. So I might use clay for tweaking the weight. So after all that went off, would release a marble down here, down a path, and then trigger this lever, which was held down by that screw, and it knocks it off, lets it go. And this was made purely for the visual aspect. I mean, I've done this so many times, just releasing a lever like that. But never put sunglasses on a lever, and never made a deal with it image. And then that would hit a ball down here. And this is just paperwork to make ramps. And what would happen is this motor would turn and then hit the mouth of this pink nutcracker, and it was the slight jiggling that kind of slowed down the ramp for the marble. I don't think it worked quite with the finesse I wanted in the final video, but that's okay, because again, this area was just set up for pure visual aspects. And then it just hit this, and that's where it ended. And again, like this machine, I don't consider it that complex, except for this part, this whole multi-use pulley. But even then, I kind of knew what I was doing because I had done the multi-use lever. And this is almost the same trick, except of using weights on the end of this lever. It uses weights on the end of the string. And all the decoration is just either stuff I made from scratch, found, and painted pink, or I just happen to have it. Like I don't know where this bag came from, but I had this bag. Forks, just had forks. I think some people have plastic forks too. But anyway, thanks for watching behind the scenes of the pink machine, and if you have any additional questions, comments, or complaints, leave them in the comment section. And anything you want a more in-depth analysis on how I built, just let me know. I kind of want to make tutorials kind of like this video in the future, where I just talk about a machine I made and talk about all the things you have to deal with while making machines and what I dealt with. Like for instance, just how many little pieces of paper I had to glue on there just to get it right, because if this top piece of paper wasn't there, like I took it away, this little tiny gap right there would stop a marble. And it's just, that's kind of one thing you almost can't teach about building these, is when you gotta put these like really tiny minute details just to get it to work. But anyway, I'm rambling, so thanks for watching, and I have many names. Subscribe, comment, like for more.